All right, guys, I'm trying this again. Hopefully I'm not muted this time. By the way, I wasn't muted at the beginning of last time. I think they don't want you to know the truth about me and Josh Hokett. And for good reason. By the way, if you guys who are chiming in or getting in here realize that all of a sudden I'm muted again, please let me know. That was crazy. I kept talking on mute for a day. Anyway, yes, the rumors are very true. I am going live because my phone has just been blowing up about this. Like, my phone is very hot right now, even as we speak. Here's the thing about me and Josh Hokett. Yes, I have been coaching him. As you know, I'm a very famous, successful men's coach. Prior to that, I was a personal trainer, still am, but my personal training practice, and I know a lot of you have experienced it or been adjacent to it. Yes, my personal training practice means I am helping women and gender nonconforming people who are not men get strong, take up space, be happy, achieve whatever they want in life that has to do with their physical form, because we are making sure their physical form is working, looking, feeling, whatever, exactly the way they want. Whatever. Okay, cool. Been doing that for 15 years. Blech. All right. Where my heart's obviously at is helping men, especially men who have not asked for it. Here's the thing. Josh did ask for it. I mean, let's just start right there. So I coach men to be men, high value men, obviously. We don't want to be beta. We don't want to eat plants. We got to eat meat and be men. But with him, I actually have been training him in the gym as well. So that's actually really new. And we met when I was coaching the entire U.S. men's hockey team. We knew I trained them all as a single entity, and we knew that they'd be getting a phone call that was going to be probably kind of sexist or sexist coded. And so I had to train them on how to meet and be as sexist as that. And so that's where we're starting. So, yes, I do train men how to be more sexist. So, but I want to dig into a little bit more about Josh and kind of what he wanted to work on with his body, his physical goals. As you can see, we accomplished them. First of all, he really wanted to be different from other UFC fighters, other grown men. It's kind of cliched, I think, at this point for grown men to have like muscles or definition, particularly in like the pecs and like the abs. Like, that is so tired. He wanted to break the mold and kind of just develop this really like smooth torso, like this smooth kind of baby body, like a baby belly in it. He just wanted to be smooth everywhere. Do babies have pectoralis muscles? Yes, but you can't see them. Same with Josh. Do babies have rectus abdominis muscles? Yes, but you can't see them, nor can you on Josh. And that's what he wanted. He wanted to be really smooth and have like a baby body situation to his torso. Gosh, so many drag queens are coming in. No, guys, we never did any tucking or any taping with him. We didn't need to. Anyway, I have a lot of notes because there's a lot to get through here. Lots and lots of questions. We worked for months to make sure he was going to win that fight, that he would stay really, really round and smooth in his physique. And then we, of course, had to prepare for his victory speech, which I think is what brings us all here today. The thing that Josh always had going for him, other than kind of almost being naturally kind of round, was he has been rubbing his body up against other men this entire time. Like other sweaty, topless dudes, he's been rubbing his body against them for years, grabbing them for years, being grabbed by them for years. Like, this is his wheelhouse. This is his zone of genius, just wrestling, grappling around with other sweaty dudes. And I think that's going really well. When it comes to his victory speech and that last sentence he said about Michelle Obama, that's where I really want to dig in right now. We'll get back into the physique in just a little bit. But obviously, UFC White House collab celebrating 250 years of American racism. Just America. He had to say something that was going to attack either the Bidens or the Obamas. obviously those are the only two options on the table, and he did have to attack. Yeah. So the Bidens were out because, I mean, I think we can all agree Hunter Biden, he's on Twitter now. He's making sense. He's kind of snatched now, Josh's words, heterosexual words. And so let's stay away from the Bidens. The Obamas, he had to attack the Obamas. And I think it would have been like too obvious had he attacked President Obama, the guy who had been president for 8 years, kind of gave us healthcare in a lot of ways. And a lot of people do hate that. Ironically, people who need it. And so he had to attack the Obamas. He decided to attack Michelle Obama because she's a woman. And that is what strong men do. If there's anything we all know about strong men is they attack women. And that actually makes them stronger. It's really beneficial for everyone when men attack women. And so with him, we were like, okay, you're going to attack Michelle Obama. Clearly, this is going to be racist, sexist, transphobic, and latently homophobic. And we're going to dig into why. So I mentioned that there's a lot to unpack in his speech, unlike what was in his diaper. His UFC uniform. Not a diaper. He's never shat in it once. Okay. He decided to use an old school racism, a racist trope that white Americans have been using for longer than 250 years. So this is super duper old school North American racist. And it actually precedes the founding of this country. It's when the whole slavery thing started to happen. I know that we're, as a country, trying to pretend it didn't. Sorry, it did. And Josh is brave enough to reference that with his really weird insult towards Michelle Obama. Obviously, it's implicitly transphobic. It's a lot of phobias all into one, but the one that I think is most poignant is the fact that he called her a man. So let's take this apart for a second. If you are calling someone a man and it's not a man, like Michelle Obama gave birth with her cis female body to two people that are alive and that we have evidence do exist. So Michelle's obviously literally to use your guys' phrases, you meaning UFC heads, biological female, whatever. But to call someone a man comes with a lot of statistical kind of digs, right? So if you're a man, exponentially right off the bat, we know that you're way more likely to have killed people. You're way more likely to have stolen. You're way more likely to just have committed acts of violence, including sexual violence. And we know that you're even more likely to have started a war and blown up a children's school. We know this is man shit, right? So he was kind of accusing Michelle Obama of that. Cool. He also was outing himself as someone with a really big, nothing's that big on him, a really significant in other ways than size, mortal wound that he has to project out, right? Because the thing about Josh and so many of the other men in the manosphere that I coach is that they didn't have a father figure or really weren't cared for by the adults in their lives. So from an early age, they clocked, and in Josh's case, very accurately, that he is intrinsically unlovable. And when you realize that, it frees you up to do a lot of things like attack women, attack people who aren't you, and just kind of lean into your smooth baby belly body physique as he had. And so to come back to his physique for a second, I'm sorry, I'm just getting so many questions. Phone is so hot. No, we didn't shave his chest. He's just naturally really smooth like that. And that's really nice. And it's really unique and it's really fun. Yes, to answer the follow-up question, we could have put him on TRT, but TRT right now is really expensive. Thanks, Obama. He actually asked me to kind of add that line. So as I'm saying all of this, something really interesting is happening. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but Josh is actually downstairs in my powder room right now. And he has a lot of emotions because of what's been going on. The most permeating tangible emotion right now is his grief farts. So when he gets really worked up after a victory and he attacks women in a racist way, he has a little bit of like grief. The grief is mostly rooted in the fact that he's intrinsically unlovable, and no one will ever care that much, especially when he retires and doesn't have that much money anymore. But he gets really worked up about it. And these grief farts, guys, that's what Joe Rogan told me to call them. Joe Rogan's my mentor. I'm the middle of this human centipede. We'll dig into that in a little bit. The grief farts are fucking lethal. They, if you are in the immediate vicinity and you're not wearing safety goggles and Josh Hokett farts, holy shit, you will have to have both corneas replaced. I know because I'm on my 6th pair of corneas. Furthermore, if you're under 150 pounds and he farts anywhere near you, you will fall down. You'll fall down. Your ears are going to bleed. You're deaf now. You know, that's how much like self-hatred, intrinsic unlovability, his words, that he has inside and that he's constantly externalizing. It's really bad. But yeah, Joe Rogan's the one who coined the phrase. People have a lot of questions about my relationship with Joe Rogan. It is professional. He coached me to become a men's coach. And then I've been training him just a little bit here and there. Obviously, he's been in fitness for longer than I have. And what I like about him is he's had like kind of 2 body goals, right? He's already achieved one of them. And that is to be as spherical as possible because, and this dovetails into his other body goal, he wants very badly to resemble a meatball from the cartoon Aqua Teen Hunger Force. He's working on the vocals. That's beyond my purview, right? Higher than my pay grade, higher than my octave set as well. So I'm not helping him with the meatball voice. You can hear it though. In recent months, he's gaining lots of ground on that, but he's trying to get more kind of like red and lumpy and have the appearance. RFK Jr. He's trying to get the RFK Jr. skin so that the Joe Rogan appearance is 100% exactly identical to that of Meatball from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. So as I mentioned, the spherical part of it, he's got down. He is very round. He's very shiny, which brings me to another thing we have in common. We have the same morning skincare routine as recommended to us by our mutual Botox lady that we both see every 2 months. It's every 2 weeks. We run into each other at the Botox lady all the time. We use the same moisturizer. Our nighttime skincare routines don't interact because I'm trying to keep my skin smooth and hydrated. And that's when he really goes in for like the lumpiness. So that's when he uses like RFK Jr.'s secret line of products to make your skin really lumpy. It also affects the voice, which is yet another brick in the road in terms of how Joe Rogan is more and more kind of manifesting his overall aesthetic goal of appearing to be identical to Meatball from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. So that's kind of what's going on there. Other commonalities we have, yes, we do share clothing. Joe Rogan and I were the same size. No, surprisingly, we don't share shoes. I'm just like a little bit bigger than him in the foot. Oh, thanks, Jenny. In the foot department, it's the Joe Rogan program. In the foot department, my feet are just a little bigger than Joe Rogan's. But when he comes over and we try on our outfits, if he brings like thick socks, then he can fit into my shoes. The last kind of point about Joe Rogan I'll address at this exact time is the necktie that he was wearing on Sunday. I did mention that I did pick out that tie, but I just want to clarify a little bit. I didn't pick out the tie for him. What happened was we were hanging out because, we're always hanging out, me and Joe Rogan. We literally see eye to eye on a lot. And my dog, Mara, who you've met, she is 19 and a half pounds and a dog. She was wearing that tie. It's a dog tie. It's a puppy tie. And he did this whole, he's always doing this. Joe Rogan is always doing this. He's always like, who wore it best? And then he'll take a woman's piece of clothing and he'll put it on. And it's like, well, you're serving, sir, right now. Joe Rogan, you're kind of killing it in this. And so we took a quick survey around the room, and he looked better in my dog's necktie than my dog did. And that's why he's wearing that shiny little tie on Sunday at the UFC thing. We thought it looked really good on him because as he is very spherical, it kind of like cut off right at the equator, or like the top half of the meatball from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. That's what we were really trying to get into. So many notes, so much to get through, guys. Actually, we're almost done. So here's the thing. Yes, I am a men's coach. I've been not only coaching Josh Hockett, both on Zooms. He's buying my coaching programs, but we've been training in the gym. Yes, cat's out of the bag. I've also been training Pete Hegseth. I'm the one who came up with that bench technique. And just a word about that before we move on. That bench technique, by the way, like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, you didn't see the whole video. He had reps before that. Here's the thing about all of his reps is he used a really light for a cis man, barbell, like really, really light. It was labeled heavier, and we love that. That's very like UFC coded, very manosphere coded, very honest. And then, one thing about him that we're just really proud of is that he doesn't extend his elbows. You saw this in what I think were self-described like dumbbell strict presses too. You don't extend the elbows. That way you're never like burdened by developed triceps or a developed chest because you're not completing the reps. So, and the reason we do that, other than the aesthetic values, is if you don't try to complete a rep, then you don't fail. So if you can see him go into what I think should have been dumbbell bilateral hang power cleans into some kind of overhead press, the reason he like his wrists go like this, I taught him that. The more you kind of keep a bend through the wrist and the elbow, the more you don't actually have to finish a single rep. And then you're not like loaded down by like all these muscles, you know? It's I'm not gonna lie, like there are a lot of overlaps in how I train Pete Hegseth. By the way, one of those overlaps is the complete lack of lean muscle mass in his legs, as you can see when he does that karaoke. You're funny. And then, you know, I think this is probably like on trend in like the men's like lifting beauty standards moment world we're in. Is Josh also didn't want any like disgusting lean muscle mass on his legs. So it's all about like, can we keep their legs like really, really thin and streamlined and kind of just like baby deer-like? It's really feeding into this like youth thing, right? Because again, Josh Hockett, his entire thing, can I get a smooth baby body, baby belly that I can rub on other sweaty men? But please don't give me leg muscles. I want to be dainty at the bottom and otherwise look like I could fall over at any time. But because I'm so round and smooth, I'll just kind of roll around. So anyway, I don't really know how to end this except that, yes, taking full credit for Josh Hockett's success. He did that, and I'll be discussing a little bit more at a later time about how I think, for those of you who obviously want to look exactly like Josh, how you can, because you know what? We have been venerating Chads for way too long, and the thing is, we need to move into our Josh era. With that, I leave you guys. Thank you so much. I will flex on him. And yes, for the last time, I did not teach Josh how to tuck or tape any of that. That is naturally very smooth, right? Okay, cool. Last thing is this because you asked for it. All right, bye.